My dad was born in 1955 in South LA in the Florence neighborhood. So I heard a lot of stories of like the unique cultural and social dynamics of that area from him. So, given your own experiences growing up in South LA alongside the black community, how did these experiences shape your understanding and sympathy towards the black liberation movements? And how did this shared environment influence the solidarity and collaboration between the Chicano and black communities during the 1960s?
Yeah, we arrived from Ciudad Juarez in Florencia neighborhood. We lived on 76th Place, 1542 and a half East 76th Place. We had blacks as our neighbors, Chicano families, one white lady, Mrs. Hefner, that ended up having a stroke or heart attack, and they carried her out. Anyway, it looked like the black families were arriving from the south because one of my neighbors, a young teenager, raised pigeons, tumbling pigeons, and he flew them over the neighborhood, competing against other young men that had pigeons, and I was fascinated by that, right? And I went to Miramonte Elementary School where I had black students and black teachers and some white teachers too, of course. So to me, it was normal to be, I mean, when I got here from Juarez, I had never seen black folks before. And, my mother, tried to tell me the stuff about blacks and whites. But, I learned on my own that they were just human beings like everybody else. Anyway, growing up in South LA, I appreciate it. I remember walking to school in the morning, listening to the rock and roll of the 50s and the 60s. Chuck Berry, Little Richard, all the top hits. And I went into a little record store, run by a black owner. He was selling 45s, and I was fascinated by the music, and my sister and I started listening to rock and roll music. I remember going to the theater right there on Florence off of forget what street. There was a big old theater. I think they call it the Florence Theater, and they had the movie Elvis Presley, Jailhouse Rock. And it was all full of little Chicano and black kids, right? And we were like jumping and screaming, and the young black men were dancing in the not the hallway, the aisles, right? And we just went crazy. It was such fun, growing up in Florencia. My neighbors were F-13, Florencia 3 and gangsters. I was a little elementary school kid. They were probably older teenagers, and they treated me nice. They introduced me to the little zip guns that they used to have. I played baseball with them, ball on the street. And I got to meet. One time I saw that they were having a big meeting in the backyard because our little apartment was in the back of another house, and I could hear them talking. And then some of them got into a fight, and they let them fight, right? But there was maybe 20 or 30 of them in the backyard, and I could hear them talking, having a meeting. And I go, wow, what's all this about, right? But, my dad worked in an assembly line factory. He was a shop steward in his union. I wouldn't go to his union meetings. And when they went out on strike, I went to the picket line with them. So that had a big influence on me. My dad and my mom always tell me, don't forget who you are, speak Spanish, you're a Mexicano. But yeah, I appreciated black culture, black music, having black neighbors, and then so then I went to Miramonte Elementary School. Then I went to Edison Middle School, which again was half black and half Chicano, or maybe 1/4 Chicano, right? And it was fun, gym, going to gym and everything. And I remember having a black teacher, I forget his name, but he was a tall, husky guy, all well-built. Everybody admired him. And let's see, what else? Yeah, so I mean, that influenced me later on in the Chicano movement, right? Because after we moved from South LA, we moved to Boyle Heights and went to Hollenbeck Middle School. And at that time, there were blacks there because of the public housing projects, Aliso Village and the flats, right? So, and I had a black teacher, Mr. Patterson, who also had a club, the High Steppers, showing us how to dance after school. So one of my first dates that I had was with Shirley Turner, African-American young lady, and I walked her down to the flats, to the projects, and she kept telling me, go back, this is far enough. And I went down there, and a little group of black guys saw me, and I said, oh, shit, they're going to kick my ass. But as it turned out, one of them knew me, so I was safe. But anyway, later on in the Chicano movement, I saw the natural alliance of black and brown solidarity. When the Black Panther Party, John Huggins and Bunchy Carter came to the Piranha Coffee House to meet with us, I thought it was only natural that we have the unity of the Black Panther Party and the Brown Berets, black and brown solidarity. One or two of the Chicanos didn't like it, and I remember going to South LA to a Black Panther meeting. There was one or two blacks that didn't like it, but the leadership of the Panthers and the Brown Berets thought it was very important to unite black and brown solidarity. And that continued, through my stay in the leadership of the Brown Berets.
The shotgun takes my place. There'll be no peace. There'll be no peace. There'll be no peace until there's justice. Until there's justice, there'll be no peace. There'll be no peace. There'll be no peace until there's justice. Until there's justice, oh, there'll be no peace. There'll be no peace. Oh, there'll be no peace until there's justice. Oh, give us justice. There'll be no peace. There'll be no peace. There'll be no peace.
Revolution is a matter of change. When you change, you demand equality. When you change, your mind is free.
There'll be no peace. Oh, no, 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 no. Until there's justice. Until there's justice.